Next, let's talk about scaling questions. This is one of my favorite techniques to use with children and teens. Scaling questions can provide a lot of helpful information. They're easily adaptable to a variety of situations, and they're just really easy to use. Every single one of the clients I work with knows that I'm going to start a session asking them what their week was on a 1 to 10 scale. And on my end, I record this weekly in my notes because the information can become so valuable when I'm looking for patterns and for progress. More importantly, I can use this information to share with the client to show them their own patterns or progress. In this module, we will be taking a look at the many ways you can use scaling questions as part of therapy sessions. First off, let's briefly discuss the purpose of scaling questions. In essence, scaling questions help a client break down their perception of an experience or situation into actual data points or grades. This can help them conceptualize something in a way that feels more controllable to them, lets them take a step back from the experience to observe it from a neutral perspective, and helps break down other options into next steps. One of the things I love about scaling questions is a lot of my clients begin to use the scale even when we're not meeting as a way to think about what experiences they're having during the week. So, as I mentioned previously, a great example of a scaling question is to just ask someone to share where their week fell on a 1 to 10 scale, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Sometimes I have clients that want me to define what a 1 and a 10 look like. In those cases, I ask them to think about what a 1 would look like for them and what a 10 would look like for them, stressing the importance of the to them. I clarify that this is their scale and there is no wrong or right way to do it. After they give a number, I may explore what would have made it higher or lower. For some clients that seem to sit at a 5 on a weekly basis, I often ask what was the lowest their number got that week and what was happening then. I've also asked what was the highest number and what was happening in that moment. This really helps to start to clarify, define some moments in their week, and explore how they are perceiving things. It can be especially helpful to ask them what prevented them from being a lower number in order to explore some positives or coping strategies. Some other great scaling questions include ones focused on specific experiences or their presenting concern. For example, if someone is having stress at work, I may ask how stressful their work week was on a 1 to 10 scale. I then may explore with them what could have made it one number higher and create a plan to implement small steps to reach that number next week. If I have a student that has a history of self injury but is currently not engaging in cutting, I may ask them how strong the urge was this week on a 1 to 10 scale. Then we're going to explore how, even at that stated number, they were able to avoid cutting themselves. This gives us a chance to really look into coping strategies that are working for them. We can look at a client's motivation for change on a scale as well. We can explore their moods or various feelings on a scale. There are so many ways to use scaling questions and really tailor them to your client. Within the conversations about scales, we can start clients on presupposing change, which is an important part of SFBT and something that we will explore later in another module. Questions about how to get numbers moving can help with this. Things such as, what would it take to get that down to a 6 from a 7? Or, what would it look like if your week was an 8 instead of a 7? Can really help this process. For those that are more visual learners or for younger clients, keep in mind that you can also use scaling questions that are not related to numbers. For example, using a visual image of a staircase and asking them where they fall on the stairs, or asking younger students how much of something they experience, using your hands as a visual guide. To do that, I may start my hand really low and then raise it higher and higher to showcase higher numbers. In the next section, I'll turn it over to my colleague John Ebert to discuss the concept of resource talk and how it can benefit the work you do with your clients as part of a solution-focused brief therapy approach.